Welcome back. I'm Jamie Hipp, co-pastor here at Highland. We are excited to be back with you here week 2 to share with you our interview with partners in Taiwan, Clay and Rhonda Danner. We're going to bring you up to date on all that's ongoing in their lives and in ministry there, and also give you direction in how you can pray. For more information, you can go to hbcwaco.org/missions. So I'm connecting with Clay and Rhonda Danner. They are in Taiwan, and we've been partnered with them at Highland for a number of years now, and have been working alongside with them and sending teams at times to work with them as well to share the gospel and see the Lord at work throughout the country. And so wanted to hear from them a little bit about what's happening there and how their family's doing, what ministry life looks like. So happy to have you guys share with us a bit. I know for y'all, it's been a big season. I mean, globally, like it is for everyone else. So y'all have been impacted as well. But I know first, as we worked with you before, we were in the capital city, and now you guys have moved. So the first thing we could talk about is just what that looks like, because y'all have made a big transition in recent days to a new city.
First of all, wanted to just say thank you to you guys. It's an honor being able to be on here, and we're really thankful for the Highland family who's been supporting us and praying for us and sending groups out and teams out. We're really, really thankful for you guys, more than y'all know. And so we just want to say thank you first. Secondly, regarding the move, we moved out here about 7 months ago. We're still in New Taipei City, but we're in a different district called Linkou. It feels way more slow paced than what your previous teams had experienced being out here. Now that being said, it is still a fast-paced place, but especially compared to where I grew up in Arkansas. But yeah, it's changed quite a bit. We had felt like the Lord was leading us to move this direction for a couple of years now, and one of the biggest reasons is the school that our girls go to just opened out here. They had been in the city and in like Taipei Central kind of, and then they moved out here and opened in January. And we had been doing probably 2 to 3 hours a day for almost 4 years, just commuting to get them to and from school. And now our commute is about 5 minutes on a bicycle, which is amazingly helpful for our whole family. And we really feel like the Lord is wanting us to hunker down in this area that we're in our new area, and really invest in people around here. But we also do still have stuff going on around the city as well that we can talk about later.
Yeah, it's been a big adjustment, but now that we've kind of gotten used to living a little bit further out, and when the school opened, it's been life-changing for our family. Like, we've had so much more family time, and I think we calculated like 3 hours a day maybe, like we would have to commute, and so that saves a ton of time on that. So yeah, we've been really, really pleased where we are here, and there's a lot more space for the kids to run around and that kind of things, and we're just trying to get to know our neighbors here. So that's where we're at here.
So when was that move? How long ago?
October.
And then you lived before your prior home was, how long were you there?
Almost 4 years in Banqiao.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's great. And then for our people here, remind us your girls, tell us about them, their ages, maybe what grade they're in.
Yes, 11, 9, and 5.
11, 9, and 5. And they are all in school?
Well, Liliana, our youngest, starts in the fall. So that's another big transition that's coming up for us. Like, we'll have everyone will be in school. So we'll have more free time for ministry, and for me, for more language learning. Yeah. Clay doesn't need that, but I still do. But yeah, up until now, we've had her at home with us. So that's been a large portion of what I have done. And so I'm kind of looking forward to, having a little bit more time to just see what else the Lord has for me here.
Sure. So, like with any transition, when you move to a new location and proximity, you're not that far from where you lived before regarding the country. But like, so what's that been like these early days? I know we have the pandemic mixed up in the middle of this too, but I guess maybe October to pandemic beginning there in Taiwan. Like, kind of what does that look like? I mean, your time, how have you been able to make adjustments? I guess learn new pathways, where to go, where to shop, where to meet people. I know there's universities there. Like, how's that time been spent for you guys as you settle in as a family?
Yeah. Well, the first couple months we still were commuting a lot because the school actually didn't move out here until January. So we had to commute the other way for a couple months, and that was very time consuming. But yeah, I mean, I think moving in another culture I feel like I personally went through even more culture shock on another level and things that I hadn't experienced before. Just, trying to get things done and trying to find where to get things and what you need. And for me personally, not being able to communicate a lot with the people. I mean, like at the shops and stuff like that. So, or being able to call in America, I could just call and take care of stuff. And here I would depend on Clay a lot to do that for us. So I think he was really busy trying to balance what he was still doing in Taipei with ministry and ministry here. And I was trying to balance ministry and family, and it was kind of crazy for a little while. And then I guess when the school started in January, we felt like it really, kind of let up a good bit. When we were a couple months settled in at that point, and we also got a vehicle, so praise the Lord for that.
Praise the Lord.
So that was huge. So 4 years without a car here, and that's made a huge difference. So, but yeah, still an adjustment in that, even in driving in a big city, and trying to figure out, just the new places and place for groceries, like you're saying, and just anything that we need. So
we still feel like we're learning that to an extent, because I mean, you've been here before. There's so many, like, there's the easy places to do things, and then there's the better places to do things. And the better ones or the cheaper ones or less expensive ones are not always like, convenient or right there where where they are. And so we're still, to be honest, we're still learning a lot about Linko.
Yeah, but there one thing I like about this area is there's a lot of parks. So that's been really cool to take Liliana out to play at the parks, and that's been a good way to meet people, meet other families and that kind of thing. And then really just trying to focus too on our neighbors. And we had, I think we'll probably get into this. We haven't been able to do as much as we wanted to since the COVID thing. And because we were going to like bake cookies and take them around, and I think that would be frowned upon right now.
Start up our taco Thursdays.
Yeah.
Right.
And, but everyone was just kind of, keeping their distance for a long time. So, but yeah, up until COVID, we had started meeting our neighbors around the holidays. We were able to attend some they had like a local community party and that kind of thing, where we met quite a few people and that kind of thing. And so there have been some key neighbors that we have been able to continue relationship with. And one of them even took our kids horseback riding, one older couple. So that's been good. So yeah, so we're still trying to meet more people, but here it seems very much family oriented. So I'm looking forward to that, being easier to meet people.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. So for y'all, I know being closer to kind of ground zero, if I could say it that way, from the mainland of where everything started with the pandemic, I know it looks different there. It looks different every part of the world. But like, what did that mean for y'all, the way that things are set in place about from face masks to, needing to stay at home, or like kind of what's that kind of look like, a couple of those sort of kind of parameters of that for you guys? How's that looked, or how's that impacted y'all as a family with some of those constraints?
Yeah, we so when it first started, and I mean, I know there's tons on the news back in the States, so some people have probably seen this, but Taiwan was like was the very first country to call out, what was going on and to bring a spotlight to it. It was overlooked or ignored for a while. But Taiwan learned from back in 2003. I'm sure most everybody remembers the whole SARS pandemic that took place, and it hit Taiwan really hard. I actually lived here during that time. Rhonda lived here during that time. And they got hit so hard with that. They learned their lesson, and they also had decided and set in place, like, we're going to do everything that we can to be ahead of the game if anything like this were to happen again. Mm-hmm. So almost immediately, Taiwan went into started preliminary lockdown mode stages, like started restricting flights from the Wuhan area of China and then from China, and having people wear face masks and checking temperatures. Like for the subway systems, they had temperature, like body scan temperatures that you had to go past before you could go into the subway system, and spraying people's hands with alcohol before they went into a restaurant or before they went into a business or anything like that. And so they really immediately went into like preventative mode, and we're on the offensive in that. And we're really thankful for that. Taiwan's done an amazing job of getting ahead of this, as much ahead of this thing as you could. In fact, I remember when it all started, we're so close, and there's so much traffic back and forth between Taiwan and China, that when it first started, I had people messaging me. You were one of them. You know, I had people messaging me all the time, like from the States, going, "Hey, how are you guys? Like, y'all be careful, this and this and this." And it wasn't that many weeks later where the States were having the issue, and everybody was, you know, checking on us. But we're like, things are pretty good here. You know, we've got 23 or almost 24 million people that live on the island. There were only 400 plus confirmed cases that took place of the 24 million, and us being so close, even with traffic. Like they just did a great job of, you know, there's a lot more that goes into it, of course, but we're really thankful for how Taiwan responded. Mm-hmm. But yeah, immediately, like, our girls started at their new school, and they were there for maybe 3 weeks before Chinese New Year. And then after Chinese New Year, they went 3 weeks to online schooling. But we're also thankful for our school. Our school had been preparing for, if there was ever a situation that restricted people from being able to go to school. They started a couple years ago practicing and preparing for that with online schooling. So they immediately, after Chinese New Year, emailed everybody, said on Tuesday, we're going to online schooling for the next few weeks. And, you know, there were some growing pains and things like that, but at the same time, like, there wasn't much missed. And they did a great job of having been prepared for that. Then back in school for a couple weeks. And then when there was like a second wave that people were concerned about, when people started flying back to Taiwan from the States or Europe, because it was growing there, they then put everybody back to online schooling for 2 weeks. And so there are definitely some transitions. And because of the pain of SARS 2003, everybody was on high alert. Mm-hmm. And you know this, and, you know, it's a very fear-controlled society, fear-based culture. Mm-hmm. And so the threat of anything that could cause, that could even hint at death or major sickness or anything like that, people just basically lock themselves down.
Yeah. So
when the government issued their, you know, those, we never went into lockdown here, but there were a lot of suggestions initially, and then rules that went into place to make sure that, you know, not much was being spread or nothing was being spread. So,
yeah.
Gotcha. So for you guys, I know you're mindful of what that looked like. And I know you even talked to me, Clay, and shared about, like, just, you know, mask and distribution and things like that. Like you said, where there was a heightened awareness, which was good. And you wanted to, you know, abide by those guidelines you were given as well at times. But I know you mentioned your neighbors earlier, Rhonda. I know the ones that y'all have gotten to know a little bit of an older couple, but, you know, engaged your family and your kids. And so what's that look like? How's that changed? Being in a new location, dealing with pandemic, trying to
Yeah.
get everything on the ground. Like, what's that look like building, meeting them or building relationship with others? Like, if you want to share a little bit
Yeah.
about maybe that couple or somebody else, what's that look like? I guess, friendship, ministry wise, building relationships.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it definitely slowed things down for us because, a huge part of what we do is, what we do is meet with people and invite people into our home and all of that. So I think it definitely, because initially when we moved in, we were going to just get settled quickly and then kind of open back up to, our weekly taco nights and just a good way to get to know the neighbors. And so that couldn't happen. So, and still, I mean, it still is highly regulated. So we still haven't really felt free to start those things yet, but we feel like we're almost there. So I think for ministry wise, it has definitely slowed down the bigger meetings that we normally would have. Part of what we have done is also we switched churches. So we've been attending a new church and getting to know some of the people that are coming to that. And then our neighbors, there's a couple of men who every time they see Clay when he goes out, they talk to him. And at that, I'm really thankful we had the Christmas party because that was before the pandemic, right before the pandemic came and here. And we were really able to meet a lot of our neighbors enough to where, if they see us out, they can talk to us and that kind of thing. So we would see each other in passing after that. And then that one man and his wife were kept saying that they wanted us to go with them to ride up horses and that kind of thing. And then it stopped for a while because they said, well, it's not yet. Let's wait till all this is kind of over. So we went like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, at least 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and Clay can share a little bit. This is a cool story about him. His name's Marty.
Also about the Christmas party that she's mentioning, this is just a fun thing. Like, anytime they have big parties, they include karaoke and KTV.
Of course.
And so, and I've always loved doing karaoke with people here in Taiwan, like, because nobody cares. Nobody cares how good you sound or how bad you sound. Like,
that's true.
It's just fun. Like, it's just fun. And so we're there at the karaoke, that's taking place. And, a few people are singing, and for whatever reason, like the DJ, and I, like, our eyes connect, and he's like, come over, and calls me over, and and I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, hey, why don't you sing? And I was like, no, it's all right. They're having fun. He's like, no, like, you need to sing. And so I was like, okay, fine. So he hands me the list of English songs. It's one page, and none of them are songs I've heard of in my entire life, like any of them. And I've learned several Chinese songs from years gone by. And so I was like, hey, what about this guy and this song? And he's like, oh, you can sing Chinese. And I said, yeah, a little bit. And so he gets me next in line and starts playing, and I start singing in Chinese, and it was just hilarious. It was hilarious, but I'm telling you, that opened it. I even had one guy, the head of the whole like HOA in this community that we're living in, came up in the middle of one of my songs and kissed me on the cheek, which is it's not a Taiwanese thing that takes place, but he comes up, kisses me on the cheek. Even my daughters are still like, is that the guy that kissed you on the cheek that time? That was so weird, Daddy. But I was like, I know, but it really opened just even that goofy act of like being vulnerable and having fun with them. Like, it opened so many doors into the community and specifically Marty, who I'm about to share about. So Marty's probably in his early mid 70s, I guess. He used to be, I think, the former like chief of police or sheriff for like all of New Taipei City. He started like the mounted police force in Taipei City like 20 years ago or something like that. So he's been around horses for a long time, loves it. And he was like, hey, I really want to take you and your family, you and your daughters to go horseback riding. And I was like, yeah, sweet. That'd be great. Let's do that sometime. And then he goes, we finally set it up a few weeks ago, and we go out there, and it was interesting because every time we've ever been with him, he's always been like super engaged, like just really wanting to talk and everything. But this, I could tell something was wrong, and he even looked kind of sickly, and could tell that he had lost a lot of weight. And so I asked him, I was like, "Hey, Marty, you okay?" And he was like, I haven't been able to eat, like I haven't had my appetite for almost a month now. And he'd lost like 4 kilograms, which is like 10 to 12 pounds. And so he was like, I just can't, like, I've got, my body has some problems. And so I'm like, well, man, that stinks. And even after we finished, like that was in the middle of like the horseback riding and everything. So after we finished, we were going to have lunch with them, and at this special restaurant that they've been going to for like 20 years. And so we go to the lunch, and he can't even sit down at the table with us. Like he tried to sit down at the table with us, but even just when the food came out, he just got even more sick. So he goes over to the side, and so we have our meal. We're talking with his wife and a few other of our neighbors that were with us as well, having a conversation. And then afterwards, I asked Marty, I was like, hey, you know, and I knew I had overheard him and his wife, or the owner of the restaurant, talking to him about, hey, you need to go see this like shifu, like this kind of like Buddhist Taoist healer person. You need to go over there and see this person. I'm gonna give you their information. I overheard this taking place, and I had already planned to talk to Marty that like after it was over. And so I went over and I was like, hey, Marty, so how are you feeling right now? And he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I can't sit with you guys. I've been looking forward to this forever. I just can't buy food at all. And so I asked him, I was like, well, would you mind, you know, that I believe in Jesus, I'm friends with Jesus, and would you mind if I prayed for you? You know, I believe that he can heal you, and I've seen him do that before with people. And he was like, yeah, would you be okay coming by my house tomorrow? And I was like, sure, yeah, that sounds great. And that way we could have more time. And so next morning I go over to his house. It's just me there with him and his wife. And we start talking and just like getting to know each other and stuff. And then I asked him, I was like, so Marty, what's going on? Like, what's the problem with your stomach? And basically it came down to his fear of what's going on in the world and lack of peace and concern has led his body basically to breaking down to where he can't eat anything, like no appetite, no strength. He's just physically ill from all of the worry and concern that he has. And so I started sharing with him about a good friend of mine and how he found, like a Taiwanese friend of mine, and how he had always been wanting peace and how he didn't find it until he gave his life to Jesus. And so I'm sharing this, and I was like, and ever since he gave his life to Jesus, that's the one big testimony that he shares all the time is, I never knew what peace was until Jesus. And so I'm sharing this with him, and he's asking questions, and his wife's asking questions. And then I was like, so Marty, are you okay if I pray for you? And cause he had somebody coming over and I had to leave, and he was like, yes, please, that would be great. And so I asked him, are you okay if I put my just hand on your shoulder and pray for you? And he said, sure, that'd be great. And so put my hand on his shoulder, and I just started praying for him. And even as I was praying, I could tell that something was changing in him. Like he was starting to, move around a little bit. And whenever I finished, he was like, I've never felt like that before. Thank you so much for praying for me. He was like, I feel like I can eat right now. And he was like, I'm going to call you later today and let you know what the rest of the day looks like. So he called me that evening, or messaged me, one or the other. And he was like, Clay, thank you so much for praying for me. He said, I want to let you know I was able to eat tonight. First time in over a month that I've been able to eat. I was able to eat. My appetite was back. And then the next day again, his wife messages and she's like, hey, Clay, he was able to eat again this morning. Thank you so much for praying. And so I'm just responding. I'm like, praise the Lord. That's Jesus healing you because he loves you. And so, and it also, one other thing that took place while I was at their house was, as we were talking, I said, Marty, I'd love to meet with you and to introduce you to, let you know more about Jesus and start reading the Bible with you, if that'd be okay. And he was like, absolutely, that would be okay with, like, I've never experienced anything like this before. Let's do it. And so this is a guy in his 70s who experienced Jesus and who now wants to start reading the Bible and meeting with me on a regular basis too, which is just incredible. Like, that kind of thing doesn't really happen here in Taiwan, especially the older generation. They're usually so staunch in their beliefs and where they are, but an encounter and experience and relationship can change all of that. And, so quickly, even though he hasn't given his life to Jesus yet, he's experienced Jesus, he's experienced love and relationship with us, and ultimately Jesus through us, and which is opening the door for more that we're really excited about for him and his wife. And he's like kind of a pillar in this community that we're living in. And I really feel like if he crosses that line into becoming a son and into the kingdom, that I really feel like it's going to blow the doors wide open here in this community, because he's so well respected. But yeah, it was just a really exciting thing. Like, and even now, like to this day, just a few days ago, he calls me up. He's like, hey, are you guys at home right now? And I was like, no, we're at a friend's birthday party. He's like, oh, it's okay. Well, I left a big box of mangoes and lychee on your porch. And it is mango season now, Jamie. So, and they're incredible. I'll eat a few for you. But he left a big box of them on our porch, and he was like, yeah, I got these. They're some of the best in Taiwan. I left them for you. Y'all enjoy. Let's get together soon. I was like, yeah, awesome. So yeah, it was really neat just seeing how the Lord's been opening that door and cultivating that relationship, just through simple willingness to like have a conversation, get to know somebody, and look for the opportunities to minister grace and to share life is really how it's changing and how it's bringing them closer to the Lord. So yeah,
so great. Praise the Lord for that, for Marty and what's his wife's name?
Shelly.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that's great. Well, thanks for sharing that, because I know that as y'all moved in there, or we're looking to move in, and just like we are here, that look for the opportunities, as you said. Step into those opportunities, take the opportunity to pray for someone. And like you said, for someone in that age, we know as those who have been experienced Asian culture, for that to be an open door, that just the openness to listen. So I think when you made the age comment, because I'm thinking, well, it's kind of similar here, a neighbor of mine kind of in his 70s, and all his life, he had actually been around, people a little bit that, had some sort of religion, but just an unwillingness, to hear. But at the same time, when the door is open, that you walk through it. And I know it's just obediently what you were looking to do. Rhonda, you do the same, with opportunities that y'all have, but whether it's a neighbor or someone you meet in the community. Did make me think about, as we've engaged with other people, like you said, the older generation there, sometimes there is just settled in. This is what I believe. This is where I'm at. I'm not, very open to hearing. It seems different with the younger generation. And I mean, younger, I don't know what the age grouping would be, but someone up to maybe 50. But college age, 30s, 40s, it seems like it's a little bit different. What would your perception be there about people's willingness to hear, like when you build friendship and talk about Jesus? Do you have kind of a general response, or what does that look like?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I feel like with the older generation that they're definitely more rooted, I think, in the religion culture. Here, I think a lot of the younger people do it out of respect for their families and their grandparents, but a lot of them, this generation, I feel like they don't really believe in the power of it. They kind of just see it as part of something that they have to do for their family. And like I remember one conversation I had with a girl that worked at a tea place, and she was asking why we were here, and I was telling her, we're here to we felt like God wanted us to move here and love the people of Taiwan and share about Jesus and the Bible. And she was like, wow, that I can tell. She was really touched by just that we were so personally moved by religion. She said, here, it's just something that my generation, we just don't really believe that strongly in it. So I think it's more of a culture thing, but for the older generation, I think they're very fearful of not doing it, especially after they've been doing it for their whole lives. And we've touched on this before, where there's so much persecution within the families because they do so much ancestor worship. I think to make the step to believe in Jesus is really, it's accepting a lot of things, that your ancestors that are before you, that you've been offering, things to provide for them, like to believe that that's not true anymore. Like, what does that mean for their parents and their grandparents who have already passed away? And so I think it's a huge challenge because it's so intertwined with their culture and with their family. And it's not just in America, everything's a personal decision. Here, it's very much, the family sees it as a unit. And so you can't turn your back on us, because who's going to provide for me in the afterlife when I die, is what the older generation would think. Or, so it's much more of a slap in the face they see it that way, to the parents and the grandparents and the ancestors who have already passed on. I feel like, I don't know. I'm hoping that this generation, that the younger generation, will continue to see just how it's not real. And, so that when they get older, that they will understand just the life and relationship of Jesus, and also just the heart of the Father and love, because there's just no love in the religion here at all. It's all fear-based. So, I would definitely say that it's harder to reach the older generation.
Yeah, and with the to your question about the younger generation, I feel like there's absolutely an openness, but it's an openness of they're not just going to take anybody's word for it. Just like we're seeing in the States here in recent years as well. Like they know the difference in religion and religious traditions and something that's real. And they're very skeptical of anything that isn't, or of anything that's because you're supposed to. Like that's not an acceptable answer. It's not you're not going to argue anybody into the kingdom here, especially the younger generation. That kind of thing, or just because I said so. Like they need to see something that's real. And I'd say they're definitely open to it. And the biggest thing that we're seeing is the opening up our lives to people and genuinely caring about them. Like not trying to get them to become converts. The goal is not to invite them to a church service, invite them to a Bible study. The goal is to get to know them and let them get to know us. And we're seeing that when they really get that, and when they see that that's real, they want to know, like Rhonda was saying, the girl at the tea shop, they want to know, why is it different? Why are you different? And because, if we're just after converts, if we're just after decisions, to a large extent, that's easy, and it's not that dirty, like it's not that messy. But whenever you're really trying to get to know somebody and all the junk, and you're letting somebody into knowing you and seeing your day to day and everything, like that's when they know that there is something, or that's when they can see and they can really start to know, okay, there really is something different. And I think that's when the blinders start to come off to a large extent, because they've been blinded by religion for so long, of many different kinds, right? But they've been blinded by religion for so long that when they do start to see something that's real, they will absolutely gravitate towards it and start to open up. Yeah.
That's great. I know that that's an ongoing process, but I think that life on life, I think that's what I often think of as we're in our community here, right where Highland, the campus is placed, but our people come in from different places, they might live nearby where we gather, they might not, might drive in, things like that. But, God has placed us where he has us, that he has marked our time and our boundaries. And so it's for us just to be obedient with what he's given. And I know that's what y'all were here, you'd be doing the same thing that y'all did for a season, before you went overseas. It's just that the Lord said, this is where you're going to be now. But just to be faithful, both in the words that you speak, but also in the lives that you lead. And that takes time. And, that's your home. You're there as long as the Lord would have you, which is all that I think he would have of any of us. We're committed to be here and to be faithful with the ups and downs. And certainly this season I've found has been interesting to have us all experiencing something, different ways, but it's the same thing. And so we're all been impacted in different ways. And so I know that's been a big transition for us. But I know in some ways, like you said, there's a heightened awareness there, but Taiwan has handled it extremely well. But I think y'all have seen probably a similar number of cases that we've seen just in our county, alone here in McLennan. So I know that's been a life change in some ways, but other ways it's, people are, are ahead of us. So things are opening up, in a way that we're still kind of waiting on. But so I think for people here, like those who will join us on this video, whenever that may be, most people will not see you face to face in your living room, on the other side of the world, right? So a lot of people, some might do that, will do that, but often it's going to be people here. So just, I don't know if you could just highlight some lanes of opportunity that people can, I think some of those are probably obvious, but it's good for us to hear that from you. So ways that we can be involved as we are partnered with you in ministry, but then also to ways that we can pray for you would be helpful as well.
Yeah. Ways that you can partner with us and connect with us. Well, one Highland already is, which is awesome. Our website is, you can go to our website, which is onebodyinternational.org. And there you can click on connect and then sign up for to receive our emails. Then we also have, and you can send us a personal email as well through that if you want to connect. Anybody that's watching, if you don't want to do that and you just want to go to Jamie and say, Jamie, send us Clay and Rhonda's email so we can do it, you can do that. Then we're also on Facebook. We actually have, we've got a Facebook organizational page that's One Body International, but then we also have a Facebook private group to protect people and their identities and that kind of deal. So that's something that you have to request to be on. And if you're interested in, like I said, you can email me and I can give you that information.
It updates people more on names of people here that we're specifically praying for. So we do, I feel like, update a little bit more on the One Body Family website because like our local people don't know of that site. So we don't want like our local friends to see their name on Facebook. Pray for, whoever. And so that's why we've created that, so that we can say, hey guys, pray right now. This is what's going on. And this is who we need prayer for. So. Yep.
And so, yeah, through, those are the main ways. And then once you get connected, we welcome anybody from Highland that wants to come on the future trips. Jamie and Derek can help point you in the right direction on that, or we'll be, making things aware. But we're also happy at any time to, if anybody is interested in missions at all, or discipleship at all, or anything like that, we're more than happy to set up even a phone call or a video chat or anything like that to just help you, if at all possible, to even walk through that. So, we want to be wide open to everybody and what the Lord's doing and helping however way we can.
Yeah. That's super helpful. And I think, for people here, if we were in a regular season to go global, we would be meeting on Wednesday nights, and I've had you guys would have you there as opposed to doing the video now from afar. But we'll take what we can get. So that's great. But for people who are watching, we've communicated throughout this season. We have a family email that goes out every Thursday to anybody that's signed up. Thousands of people that get that. And so for those listening, I just want to communicate as the missions pastor, here in leadership, that we do support the Danners, and that comes in a number of ways. Obviously, we're going to be praying and do that with them and for them. We're going to be doing that. We've communicated as well in the season that you guys are those who we support financially. So from our Highland budget, part of our mission budget goes towards supporting the Danners as well. And we want to continue down that lane. And there's an option, even through their website, if you want to connect with them personally in that way, if you feel upon your heart and burden to help support them. They have a family of 5. So it is no cheaper to live there than it is here. Some things might be a little bit cheaper, but it's still an expensive country to live in. So that's an option as well. But we do that on a regular basis. And I'll share with you guys, as Highland, people have continued to faithfully throughout this season support, and God has been faithful to put it upon the hearts of our people, even those who have experienced hardship, financially. God's been gracious to continue to provide. And so just wanted to share that for those who are listening that want to know about partnership. What does that look like? Those are some of the lanes that we are currently serving and that we are partnered with you guys as the Danner family. So with that, we want to be those who are faithful to pray. And so maybe that's how we can close in just some specific ways right now. Maybe some of these are general ongoing prayer requests, and then maybe some are specific for this season that we can pray as well. So if you could share that with us, we can pray, and then we can close out here in a little bit.
Yeah. Clay might have extra ones, but I think for our family, we're, like I was saying, Liliana's going to be starting school. So just the transition that's going to be, and we're still, especially since the COVID and all of that, we're still trying to figure out exactly, I think, me probably more than Clay, what my life here looks like, what my ministry here looks like. And just who the Lord wants me to invest in, and just for divine opportunities to meet those people and to share with them. So continue just praying that we'll get to know more of our neighbors, that there'll be an openness. It is a more established community. The people here, a lot of them are older, not all of them, but they've been here for a while. And just for an openness with them as well. And just the opportunities that the Lord would highlight. We were also able to, for the first time together, go to a local campus and participate in a class there, like a cultural exchange class in the university. And that was cool. And we feel like that might be something too that the Lord will open up in the future. But just opportunities with all of that. And then just for our family, just for family unity, our girls, are, like I said, 5, 9, and 11. There's a lot of bickering and arguing. So
contrary to popular belief, our daughters, children of missionaries, don't float around on clouds and sprinkle happiness 24 hours a day.
They're out.
So just unity with our family. And I think the summer's hard because we try to go back every other summer, and this is our off summer. And so, we miss family, they miss family. They wish that they could be in America this summer or every summer. So just for our hearts and connection with family back at home and all of that for them, just that the Lord would meet every need that they have personally.
One thing that I just mentioned with respect to the campus opportunity that we had, that was with both Taiwanese students, and it was with Muslim Indonesian students that are here. There's a big Muslim Indonesian population in this area of students that come, and they're here for a few years studying. And so we've even made some connections there with people that'll be, traveling back at some point. So we're excited about that also. I'd say I'm involved with, I'm still involved with different men around the city and people involved in leadership, high levels of leadership in different parts of the culture and that kind of deal. And so just wisdom to know how to navigate that and how to increase both challenge and invitation to them as our relationship grows. And I'm really excited about the potential and the opportunities there. But yeah, prayer for that, and just like Rhonda said, with our neighbors. And then also, you just mentioned it a minute ago, but we do raise our own support, financial support, and completely. And we're always, we've never been at 100%. We haven't yet been at 100%. We're always looking for and welcoming more people to join in what the Lord's doing here. We don't view people as, give to what we're doing, but we truly view it as like a partnership and as a family of what everything that's invested, you are doing. You are a part of what's going on out here as much as we are a part of what's going on out here. And so anybody that's interested at all or just wants to be in prayer for us about that, that's always welcome as well. But yeah, just more opportunities, and just that we would be wise in how we navigate it all, because to a large extent the opportunities could be limitless, but we don't want to spread ourselves so thin that we're sacrificing quality for the sake of quantity. Be real intentional about who the Lord is bringing to us and who we're supposed to invest our time in. Would be appreciated.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, as we close to, we mentioned the fact that we do have opportunities to go as Highland, to go specifically to work alongside the Danner family, and it is a lot of fun being in the community there to serve. And so if you're someone who's interested in that, you can talk with me, you can send me an email. We'll have our application online. And so I just want to let you know about the opportunity. We were supposed to go in June this year, but amidst the pandemic, we had to obviously cancel that. And so I saw it less a cancellation and a rescheduling. So I talked with both Clay and Rhonda about the potential of coming sometime before Christmas. And so they accommodated that. So we don't, any of us know where the world will be at that point, but we're just going to move forward as if that's going to happen. So if you're interested, I can get you the details on dates. It'll be obviously sometime in December. Specifically, I'll let you know about that. If you have any questions, let me know. We'd love to have you as a part of our team joining us in December. And I'm sure we will get on the calendar for the following year as well. But if you're interested at all, please let me know, and I'd be happy to connect you. For more information about our partnerships throughout the globe, you can go to hbcwaco.org/missions.